Countdown on the clock again. Feel like I'm playing in a game that I can never win. Time is running out, I know I gotta make a choice. So many whispers in my ear that I can't hear my voice. Tell me, will it end the situation that I'm in? Or am I bound to sit alone, drowning in my sin? Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the streets. People need to know we're living in a war zone. Hit the streets with the truth, tell them that it's on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Daryl, and this week we got a jam-packed, fun show for everybody. We're going to jump into some games we've been playing. We're going to do some predictions for the PlayStation Showcase. We're going to talk about some bolos and some pickups. We're even going to jump into the annual rarity event as our good friend Gaz Davis is overseas out on vacation. So, with that being said, guys, let's jump into the toast. That's right. It is toast time. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers. Thank you so much to all you guys who have stuck with us all these years now. I mean, we've been doing the Patreon for almost 2 years at this point. So definitely appreciate all you guys for hanging out. So here we go. We're jumping right into everything this week, guys. There is a deep dive live. Finally, this one was technically supposed to be April's deep dive. It is the Alone in the Dark 2024. It's more of a review than it is a spoiler, or well, deep dive rather. I mean, it's a 30 plus, almost 40 minute conversation with myself about it, but I tried to go light on the spoilers as not to ruin the game for everybody, because it is excellent. It is really, really great. So if you're not a patron, please consider going and subscribing to our Patreon. There's a lot of content on there, guys. I mean, like, I drop the main show live every single week. At the $1 tier, you get an extra episode of the podcast, usually called the Resident Daryl Podcast, formerly known as the Super Loot Bros Podcast. And then I do at the $5 tier each month, you get the extra episode, plus you get a monthly deep dive. And so I wasn't able to release the Alone in the Dark one in April like I was supposed to. So that one just went live, and I'm going to be dropping another deep dive to make up for it, for being behind. So that'll be May's deep dive shortly. Also, anytime I do extra content, it's in there. So definitely go check it out, guys. As a matter of fact, if you're not a YouTuber, if you're not into watching YouTube, I threw a video version of my conversation with the Pickin' Preacher in the Patreon for patrons. So I try to do little things here and there. There's lots of conversations in there. Tons of content. I mean, nearly 2 years worth of content. So if you've never been a patron, or you're thinking about becoming one, well, definitely now's the time, because there's just freaking tons and tons of episodes. So definitely, I think you'd enjoy that. So yeah, go check out the Patreon. Go check out Resident Daryl on YouTube. That is my YouTube channel where my kids and I go video game hunting, and it is a ton of fun. We have a great time doing that, and then posting up our stuff. So if you're interested in buying video games and checking out the games that we pick up on these videos, then go over to Whatnot. If you check the description below, there's links in there, all our affiliate links, and you can go check out my Whatnot link, get yourself $15 to spend with anybody on the platform to get yourself some free games. And what the kids and I do is we buy up collections, and we buy up tons and tons of video games, pull out what we need, and then resell the rest on Whatnot for dirt cheap. So yeah, that's kind of what we do there, guys. So go check it out on Whatnot. So I love the platform. I think it is absolutely fantastic, and highly recommend it. So it's eBay plus Twitch. You know what I'm saying? You buy like last night, guys, I was up till 2 a.m. and just kind of packing up stuff to go, to sell on Whatnot. And there's actually people who buy from me so regular that we're in these little message threads, and it's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to pack up this, and this. I got this, and this. They ended up buying, consoles from me, just, outside of whatnot, just from having conversation and meeting these people, through the platform. So it's been great. And I love cutting people deals. And if you watch us on YouTube, you see what the deals we're getting, you see us picking stuff up, you go over to whatnot and you see I'm starting things at $3, man. $3 video games, you can't beat that. Yeah, there's some stuff, the more expensive stuff, but everything I sell under price charting. It is very rare, and there are exceptions, but it's very rare I sell anything at price charting or above. And price charting isn't always accurate. Price charting is sometimes very behind. I sold a game the other day for $2, and it was $90 on eBay. Immediately, within 2 weeks or so of it skyrocketing with this Xbox 360 debacle, my game in price charting updated. But at the time, it was a $5 game. So if it's a $5 game, I'm starting it at $2, $3, on whatnot. So go check it out, guys. Speaking of Xbox, I'm getting ready to drop. As a matter of fact, it will go live shortly after this goes live. This is going live Thursday morning. It's my next video on Resident Daryl is going live, and it is a third installment of our Xbox 360 series, collecting 360 Xbox 360 games. So if you're into that kind of thing, go check it out, guys. It has been a fun time. We actually completely forgot in our Steelbook collection that we had a ton of Steelbooks that would be case upgrades, essentially, for the 360 collection. And then, as I was digging through, some of them actually had the games in them. So I'm like, wait a second. So we retroactively added any games that we have collected for 360 since we started YouTube. So there's got to be some sort of video evidence that we found it. So it's definitely a fun time. Very cool. And definitely go check that out. That third installment of that series will be out as of the day this goes live on the 30th. So that is all of the news that we have, guys. Please leave podcast reviews and Spotify likes and all that good stuff. Starting to see some stability in the podcast feeds. Finally, we got locked out of it for a while. There was a bit of an upgrade and a shift. The analytics have gotten a little bit better. As far as the podcast goes, like 1 week it's like hundreds of listeners, 1 week it's dozens of listeners, and 1 week it's like, oh, you got this amount of subscribers on this platform. It's just like all over the place. And then they said, all right, you have to go in, you have to claim your show. I claimed it, and then it was a pain, but we got it all figured out, and so now we're back up, we're back live, and everything is all good. So all of that being said, check out the stuff, do the things, and let's get into what we've been playing. So I'm going to start off my list of what I'm playing, I guess in reverse order is probably the best way to do it, because currently, as of the time of this recording, I am playing Who Pressed Mute on Uncle Marcus. This is a Wales interactive game, and I don't like it. I think it is one of the worst ones. Not feeling it at all. Like, it is boring, and it's a the best way to put it, it's another COVID game. Like, everyone is in their own room filming, and I'm not feeling it. So I just popped the Platinum and Swordbreaker. What I've been doing with these Wales games and Swordbreaker and some of these games that I've already played through them, and I just need to, I think it's Shape-Shifting Detective I've got to do this in, and a few others. Like, some of these Wales games that I've beaten already, or I've gone through once or twice and need to just clean up the Platinums. Like, I've got PS4 on my desk with a monitor, and as I'm working, I am just clicking the choice buttons, and it might take me 5 hours between choices, depending on what my workday looks like. So I'm chipping away at them. Swordbreaker, which is 45-minute platinum. I've already platinumed it on the Vita. I platinumed it again this week on the PS4 stack. Cute little game. I really like that game. I would like more games like this one. Choice-based visual novel type games, but like just little short stories that have really cool outcomes and really cool art. Very comic book style. So I did that platinum this week. It took me over 3 hours, 3 hours and 20 minutes, something like that. But I was busy. I was busy at work, answering calls, scheduled calls, jumping on this, doing that. So it worked out perfect for me to, just here's a choice here and there. And that's kind of what started this whole thing. So now I'm going through who pressed mute on Uncle Marcus because I didn't really care for this one. I know Shape-Shifting Detective. I've got Dr. Decker still to do. Some of these that are just, like the trophy guides are 6 to 8 hours because you have to do so many playthroughs. But so much of it you've already seen, so much of it you've already done. And like some of these games, I've already done the PS4 stack, but the PS5 stack is out. So, that's kind of how I am working on it right now. So, Swordbreaker, who pressed mute on Uncle Marcus. That's going to keep my trophy count going. It's going to keep my completion percentage up. My country rank has dropped. I'm no longer under 1,000. I am 1,044. I keep dropping spots because I haven't really popped a lot of platinums or trophies rather. So working on that. WWE 2K24. On Trophy Horrors, I was a guest on Trophy Horrors this past week. That show's live now. I did say I was playing 23 as well. And I have. I played a ridiculous amount of 23. I've been playing my factions mode. Not really getting any trophies in it, but like definitely having a good time. WWE 2K24, chipping away at the story mode, the undisputed and undenied mode. Tried out G Police. That is a PS Plus premium game. That is a PS1 game, I believe. Ported over. Might be a PSP game. I can't remember. Ported over to the 4 and 5. Not my cup of tea. Might revisit it. Who knows? Played some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade Wrath of the Mutants. Still chipping away at that platinum. It blows my mind. It's got a 35% completion rate, but yet some of these trophies are so grindy. It drives me crazy. Like I just don't. I mean, that definitely is insane to me that this one has just wildly, and it's crazy because I guess that's why there's only, so on the PS4 version on PSN profiles, there's only 45 owners, 16 platinum. So the people that bought this specifically to platinum this version. Interesting. Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better. It's not like it's some wildly popular game where everyone's playing it and getting the platinum but me. But that's it. I dabbled in a bunch of stuff. I tried Slaycation Paradise, a little twin stick shooter. Wasn't feeling it. I've been playing a little bit of Brotato here and there. Another twin stick shooter, but with -1 twin. Played some Postal Brain Damage. That was a pretty good game. I talked about that one a week or so ago. A FPS boomer shooter. Played some Malicious Rebirth on my PlayStation TV. So not really. Nothing crazy really going on. Not really. I say all that to say this, guys, and I said this on Trophy Horse. I just was in a bit of a rut. Like I'm loving wrestling. I'm playing wrestling, but like that's not really moving the needle. And that's one of those games that I'm going to put 50, 60, 80 hours in to platinum it. And you guys are going to get sick and tired of hearing me saying, "Oh, I played wrestling. I downloaded some downloadable characters and played them and played wrestling." And so I was in a bit of a rut. Like, what game do I talk about? What game is there worthy to share? Because my favorite thing about podcasts, gaming podcasts specifically, is that when the host talks about the games that they play. And it's like, oh, that gets me excited. That gets me interested. It turns my attention into something I might not be aware of. So, I'm like, well, what do I have? The stuff that I've played outside of the things that I don't really care about. And I've already talked about, but my wife encouraged me she said, I was in a rut and I was stressed. Like, you guys have no idea. Life has been wild, like off the rails these past few weeks. Just all kinds of stupid crap happening and just stuff that everyone experiences. But it's just like, we had a tire blow. So we got the tire fixed. Okay. That was $400. All right. Well, that happens. Tires blow. Tires go out. You wouldn't believe this, but I bought the most expensive model of the van that my wife drives. It's the Toyota Sienna SE, the swagger wagon, fully decked out with everything except a spare tire because it's all-wheel drive and there's nowhere to put the spare tire. I didn't realize that when I bought it, and I've had it for 6-7 years. Bought it brand new. Never needed it. Never needed the tire. So when you have a blowout, you find out that you definitely need a tire. So I didn't have one. That was a whole half of a day and $400 later. And then that turned, we get that whole thing fixed. And the brakes are kind of squealing a little bit. It's like, it's time. We've already had the brakes done recently. A little disappointed with it being inside of a year. The brakes are squealing again. We leave church the other day. This is literally 1 calendar week from the tire blowing, and the brakes sound like they're destroyed. And it's squealing, grinding, all the stuff. So that's all right. We got to go get brakes done. And the day was crazy busy. We had a bunch of places we had to be. So it's like, all right, the best thing to do is just drop it off somewhere, take the truck, and go do all the stuff. That was $400. Just another $400 expense we had, and my daughter got super sick. And then had to go to, in the past couple of weeks, she's had to go to the ER once, and she's missed a couple of days of school and been sick. That was $1,700. I mean, just boom, boom, boom. Just crazy. I'm in the middle of switching jobs. I've taken a position at another mortgage company with an excellent opportunity that should really, really open up my book of business. And it's been a long time coming for this opportunity. So, and then in the middle of that, I'm just trying to wrap up a few deals, and it's been chaos. It's been a lot of crazy. So all that being said, why did I waste your time, guys? You're here for video games, not my problems. Why do I say all that? I say that to relate to you, because you guys know how it is. When you're making career changes, when you have random things break, and by the way, also the week before the my refrigerator went out, so we had to replace. That was $2,000. It's just boom. It's always something. So I say all that just to tie it all together. You guys know how it is being an adult when you're stressed. You're like, I just want to freaking turn my brain off and just play a video game. Just get lost in something for a little while because I'm aggravated. I'm stressed. I'm whatever. And there's more. But I'm gonna stop with those things right there. Those are just big expense items, right? In the past calendar month, in the month of May, all these things happen. And so my wife says, when you get like this, you should play Resident Evil. She's like, that always makes you feel better. I said, God dog it, woman. You're right. You know me. You know me too well. So I was like, what Resident Evil do I play? Do I go in there and do I play the mercenary mode of 8 and get that platinum? Because that's all I have left is the last 2 trophies. Or do I jump into 7 and do a Madhouse replay and try to get that one closer to priming that platinum? Or do I jump into something old school and try to remember the puzzles? And I was like, I'm just not feeling intensity and I'm not feeling puzzles. So let's go to Resident Evil 6. So I put in the PS4 version of Resident Evil 6. I've beat the game on so many platforms, but I didn't beat the PS4 version. So I beat it on PS3 and Xbox 360. I think even Xbox One. I know I beat like one campaign of Xbox One. But it's arguably one of the ones I have the least amount of time in. But it's arguably one of the most fun to actually play, moment-to-moment, gameplay-wise. So I jump into Resident Evil 6. I'm like, you know what? I love Leon's campaign. That first half of Leon's campaign is some of the best Resident Evil stuff out there. Atmosphere, zombies, playability, like it's crazy. It goes off the rails. It really does. It circles back to chaos for sure. And I don't love that. I don't love the way it ends, rather. But that first half to first 3/4 of Leon's campaign is spectacular. But I wasn't feeling that. I went to Chris's campaign. And Chris's campaign is essentially a Call of Duty. I mean, it's just run and gun. Let's go. And I had an absolute blast, guys. That is exactly what I needed. That's what I wanted. That was the one. That was the thing that I needed to get it to send me. So that's the game I'm currently playing right now. That's just turn your brain off and enjoy it. And I'm having a good time. So I highly recommend it. I understand it as far as Resident Evil games go, it's one of the worst, if not the worst. As far as production quality, it's amazing. As far as gameplay, actual moment-to-moment gameplay, it's amazing. Some of the things that it introduces in the game are just so cool. The places it goes with the story are just completely absurd. It is so far beyond the ability to suspend your disbelief. It's crazy. It's off the rails, but it's fun. And that's what I needed, was fun. So that's what I'm doing. I'm playing through Resident Evil 6. chip away at that. I mean, I might go for the platinum. Who knows? I don't have the platinum in the Resident Evil 6 yet, so that's one that I definitely want. So really just enjoying myself with that, guys. So that's a lot. That's a lot of what I've been playing, but that one right there is kind of really what's got my attention right now. And there's tons of stuff out that I probably should jump into, but as for right now, that's the one that I'm gonna stick with. So next platinum will definitely be tongue twister. Who pressed mute on Uncle Marcus? But as far as like game that I'm looking forward to just continuing to play and platinum and who knows, it's going to be more Resident Evil. So we got a state of play coming up, guys. As a matter of fact, it's coming up today, the day that this releases. All right. So we definitely got to get into some predictions. But before we do that, let's get into some pickups and some bolos. Bolos, for those who are not familiar, are things to be on the lookout for. Okay. So things to be on the lookout for. Those Xbox 360 games, guys, they're going up and up and up. As a matter of fact, the Fallout games, Game of the Year editions, are going up with this. Oh my gosh, with the show being out. The show has really just made it go. I just lost my train of thought. So that show being out has made the cost of those games go up a decent amount. They were $5 and $8 games. Now they're $10, $20, $30 games, depending on if you get the Game of the Year editions and stuff like that. So if you're out game hunting, if you're at the video game stores, most specifically start looking at the Fallout, Game of the Year editions. Pick them up. They're getting more expensive. Things to be looking for sure. Also, a local video game collector reseller, similar to myself, and I were talking yesterday, and a lot of the Pokemon games have gone up. As a matter of fact, last time we were looking at Pokemon Emerald loose the other day, and it was $180 loose. It's like over $200 now. So Pokemon games have been going up. I just sold a copy of Pokemon Conquest on the DS. That one's went up about $4 since I picked it up. So little things to be on the lookout for. I don't have too much crazy going on. As far I've been really trying to dig into. Oh, I forgot a game that I played. I'll jump into that. I've been trying to dig into like CDs and movies and what has a lot of value and what's kind of going on. What do people need to be looking out for? Because things are just things are getting expensive. And physical media is doing this weird up and down, this fluctuation of like people want it, people don't. So definitely just be on the lookout for those 360 games and most, notably the Fallout stuff. Pickups for the week. It's been a bit of a slow week for me. I've got a stack of games that I have to go pick up. I did pick up some. I found a person offloading a bunch of Xbox 360 stuff. Again, I'm doing a series collecting 360 right now, so it's been kind of like, oh dang, this is the time to be looking for it. So I believe last week I mentioned this 25th anniversary Nintendo Wii bundle that I picked up that had some Xbox One, some 360 stuff in there. I had Condemned, the Platinum Hits version on Xbox 360. That went into the collection. Super excited. I picked up one of the Transformer games. I think it's War for Cybertron. Could be Fight for Cybertron. I don't remember. Either way, doesn't matter. Picked that up. That was good. But I ended up picking up a copy of Crackdown the other day for, I think, $3. And then I picked up Hulk Hogan's Connect. There's a Connect Hulk Hogan game. And a Connect wrestling game. So we're collecting all the wrestling games, casually, not like doing a series on it, but like horror games, collecting them. PSP, Vita, PS3. We are always collecting them. Those are always part of the what we're looking for. So those are always like indefinite collecting. Same thing for wrestling. Wrestling is indefinite collecting. If we see it, we're going to get it, and we just want to have a shelf filled with all the wrestling games. So that was pick that up. So that was a cool one. Now, is it a valuable game? No, but it's cool to have. I don't know that I'll ever play it. I considered busting out the Kinect and putting that in and just having a wrestling match with the boys, kind of seeing what that looks like because I never played the game. It is Hulk Hogan branded, so who knows? Maybe one day that will go up in value. But yeah, definitely that's kind of it, guys. I mean, it's been a slow week. Again, a lot of transition between the companies, and then I'll be doing a lot of traveling with the new company. So that traveling will allow me to source and be a scummy reseller in different areas. So that is super exciting. So recommendations real fast before we get into the main topic of discussion. Recommendations for this week. I actually watched the Tomb Raider films. I watched the first Tomb Raider movie and it made me laugh. I say, is it a recommendation? I don't know. I don't know that I can honestly recommend it. But I kind of enjoyed watching it. I was watching it while I was working on the reselling stuff, on the video game collecting stuff. So I don't know if this really counts as like the best way to, recommend something. But it was one of those things to where I got a double pack for the two Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies, and I hadn't seen them since they came out. And I remember not loving them when they were, whenever they first came out. And it's not too bad. So it's got some dumb stuff in there, like the scene where she's in the shower and like her head is above the shower curtain, and she's just got her lips poked out and she's flailing her hair around, and it's just it's so dumb. It is so freaking dumb, and I was like, this is comical, her fighting with the robots in her training session or whatever. Like, I mean, there was some cool spots in there, but it definitely reeks of an early 2000s movie for sure. So I added that to my list of films that I've watched, but definitely, I don't know. I don't know that it's a 3 out of 5. That's the best way to put it. It was worth watching again. And there's something about those early 2000s video game and pop culture films that just like there's a stink to them. I watched the original Resident Evil with Mila Jovovich and all that stuff the other day. And it's campy. It's just campy. I don't know. I don't know that it's good or bad, but it definitely has a look and a feel to it. The Paul W.S. Anderson films. And it was interesting also is it's like got this the slow motion like wire fighting where people do these like obscene like jumping through the air in slow motion, but you can tell they're on wires or not suspending their suspending their own body weight. It's just weird. Like it's not great. and it looks the same no matter what movie you freaking show it in. So I'm in the middle of I don't want to throw this one out there just yet, but what I'm doing is I'm going through these 2000s video game, inspired films. All right. And I watched Tomb Raider. Thought about doing a deep dive. Thought about doing a whole series on Patreon on these films. Okay. And I may. Who knows? But I watched that one. I watched, and I say video games, but also I've been watching comic book films. This kind of all started with Sin City. I watched Sin City and Sin City Dame to Kill For, and those are excellent. They're weird, but they're excellent. And then there's these like comic book and action, like action comic book. I mean, God, dog it. These comic book and video game movies that like I'm watching them. I'm enjoying it. It's almost like watching an old horror movie. It's like there's a certain camp to it. There's a certain time and place where this is kind of goofy, but also kind of interesting. So, and I'm about a quarter through Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg, which I believe that was like a 2009. Let's see. Where are we at on that one? Where is old Max Payne at? year wise, because it's a little bit different, but still has that. Yeah, 2008. Okay, there we go, 2008. So apparently there was a Max Payne Retribution film that came out. A 43-minute short film. Interesting. Never seen that. So, yeah, there we go, guys. I'm watching Max Payne right now. So that's going to be the next one on the list that I probably do some talking about. I love the Max Payne games and the Max Payne series. And I remember watching this and the Hitman movies and going, this ain't it. But I think that I'm going to give them another shot, give them a fair shake, and we'll kind of see where we go. Oh, dang. I also watched Starship Troopers the other day. And in light of Helldivers 2. And it's good. It's so good. So I was definitely jonesing to watch some Starship Troopers. A couple weeks back, I watched Starship Troopers 2. That movie sucks. But Starship Troopers is very, very good. 1997, Casper Van Dien. The only good bug is a dead bug. Yeah, that's a heck of a film right there. So I did watch that one. So I actually put down some movies this past week. So that's been pretty good. So I definitely I've watched more than I thought. So if you guys have not tried it out yet, there's an app I'm using called Letterboxd. Our good friend of the show and sometimes co-host Gaz Davis, he told me about it, and you can like make lists where you can catalog what you've watched. Okay, you can do more to it. You can leave reviews, you can watch trailers, you can read bios, you can do all the stuff in there. It's a really cool app. But holy crap, I just forgot. There's another movie. I watched a movie with my wife and daughter the other night, Unbreakable. I'm over here just like, I watched a film or two, and I was like, wait a second, I've been watching films all freaking week. Because I forgot that I watched that M. Night Shyamalan Unbreakable, and it is good. It's not as good as Glass or Split. Well, Split's definitely the best of the three. But, yeah. So, but anyways, like as I'm looking through my list, I'm like, oh, yeah. So, so this past week, I watched Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Starship Troopers, and Unbreakable. Definitely awesome. But that right there, here I am as live recording on this podcast, remembering what I watched based off of this app because I can catalog it. So far, I have cataloged 28 films this year, ranging from there's Batman vs Superman, there's some Godzilla stuff in there, Desperado, a couple Spider-Man films, Zack Snyder's Justice League. There's White Noise, Odd Thomas. That's probably one of the best films I've watched all year long. Sisu, a couple Starship Troopers, a couple Sin Cities. We got some Insidious in there. I did watch another movie the other day called The Apparition or something like that, and it sucked. It mega sucked. I didn't even catalog that one, but it sucked. Yeah. Some X-Men Origins Wolverine. Watched a couple Insidious films. So definitely lots of stuff in here. So and this is what's awesome. This kind of reminds me of trophy hunting in the sense of I'm able to log it and keep up with it. That's what I love about PSNP. I can go through and for the year and say, man, I watched all this stuff, and I can reflect back on it. So it's very cool. So definitely, if you haven't tried it yet, try it out. Go check out Letterboxd. It's cool. So that's my recommendation right there. The films and the app. Again, I'm recommending the app forever because I think it's really awesome. So, all right, guys, it's time. It's time to jump into this week's official topic, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good one. I am super excited about it. I had a really long conversation with the Trophy Whores. 2.5 hour conversation this past week on their show. Most of it wasn't about this topic at hand, but we did talk about the successes of PlayStation and a lot of the hate that they're getting. A lot of people out there hating on PlayStation. A lot of people hating on Jimmy Ryan. And so I made a little bit of a case for it because I heard some what I thought was egregious and outlandish statements about how PlayStation's killing their franchises, how they're not successful, how they're releasing failures and blah, blah, blah. And I took that language and I broke it down. And I'm like, what are we really talking about here? Because the PlayStation that I see, albeit I don't love everything they've done, is wildly successful. Arguably more successful than their predecessor because the terms of this reign and this run have been way more extremist and way more difficult. So a brief recap on that, because that's going to lead us to where we're going. The PS4 and PS5 are within 1 million units sold of their respective time in the generation. That means that at this point in time in the PlayStation 4's life cycle, PS5 is not even 1 million units behind it in sales. And you say, well, wait a minute, it means it's selling less than the PS4. In units sold, yes. But economically, that's wildly different because money was different. Okay, inflation and this recession we're in is friggin' tough right now. It's hard right now. Not saying that it was great during the PlayStation's life cycle because we were going out of a recession when PlayStation 4 launched, but we were ramping up and things were getting better. And about this point in time, in 2016-ish, is when things were really starting to get good. We had a good run there from 2016 to 2020. Like financially, I mean, we were all bringing more money home. Things were good. Tech was pumping out, and it was a good time. And the PlayStation 4 flourished during that time. The PS5, however, has managed to stay on par with it, or at least within that 1 million unit range, going through a global pandemic, extreme scarcity. It is a much more expensive unit, at least $100 more expensive of a unit. And the biggest thing, I think, the biggest probably setback, if you were going to call it one, is that this time the install base is so big from PS4, and the graphical fidelity and the improvements are not so vast that you can have a game on both platforms. So most of your games coming out, even to this day, especially your indie, smaller games, but even your big tentpole games are still getting PS4 releases. So, like, what's the point of buying the most current console if, in fact, you can play the same game, a game that's going to be built for the lower SKU on the previous generation? So, with that in mind, it's like, man, it's more expensive. The economy is way tougher globally, not just in America. Global economy is way tougher. And there's less of an incentive to just go out and buy the brand new thing because you can still play it on your old thing. So, and it's still within 1 million units. So I feel like that's a huge statement of the power of the PS5, the power of the brand, the power of Jimmy Ryan for leaving us in such a great state, a great condition as a company, as a brand. So thank you, Jimmy. So I go on the Trophy Whores. We have this conversation because I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are saying all this stuff, but like it seems like the evidence would point to this is actually, they're doing really well. They're outselling their competition 5-1 based on the most recent financial calls from PlayStation, Xbox, and EA. The articles came out since I've been on the Trophy Whores that the PlayStation dollar-wise is making more money. It's more successful, more profitable. Okay, which is good. I mean, like for them, good for them. It sucks for us, because we're the ones paying for it and everything's so freaking expensive right now. But all that being said, it seems like the brand is healthy. And if the brand is healthy, that means that we, the gamers, are going to get more games and more good stuff. So hopefully that will continue. I say all that to say this. It's been a lot of speculation on what's going on with the brand itself in the first party portfolio. So today, this evening, this comes out Thursday morning. This evening, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to find out in this next State of Play what kind of games we can expect. What's happening with PS5, games first party? What do we have on the docket? Now I got some predictions. I'm going to throw those out in a little bit. But we also are going to see what's going on with VR. Now we know our third party stuff's going to be there. We're going to have some updates. But hopefully we're going to get some big updates on some first-party stuff. Now, they did say, Hiroki Totoki Literature Club did say, you're not going to get any of the big tentpole stuff from your main studios. What you're getting is going to be first-party, but it's going to be new stuff or maybe smaller releases. But remember, guys, Helldivers 2 came out. Helldivers 1 wasn't a huge game. It did well, but it wasn't huge. Helldivers 2 is doing gangbusters, okay? So who knows what can come out of this State of Play. We might get the next Helldivers 2 style game. We might get the next big tent pole release. We don't know. Next big franchise. We don't know. Concord might set the world on fire. We don't know because we know that's coming. That's supposedly coming this year. So let's get into it. I'm going to spend the remainder of our time together. I actually only have about 15, 20 minutes left to record before I got to go to my next meeting. So we're going to jump into some predictions, and then we'll come back on a Patreon episode, okay, and see how I did. All right. So we're just the main show. You're getting the predictions. You want to see how my scorecard played out? You're going to have to come back for the Patreon. All right. That'll be the next Resident Daryl podcast, the next $1 Resident Daryl podcast. So here we go, guys. Actually, and it's not just going to be that. It's going to be some other stuff too, because I've got some stuff in the can that I've been pondering on. But so let's go with some predictions. All right. So first off, I am predicting that this thing will have some Resident Evil on there. Okay. That is my number one prediction. That's happening. Okay. The Resident Evil rumor mill is freaking wild right now. It's running wild like Hulkamania. Like, every day it's like, oh man, Resident Evil 9 is getting announced. Resident Evil 9, here comes Resident Evil 9. Holy crap, Resident Evil 9's been delayed. This is the biggest Resident Evil ever. This one's going to have open world aspects. Oh no, it's been delayed. There's all this crap going on with Resident Evil, right? So Resident Evil, I think Resident Evil 9 is getting delayed, personally. I've read enough rumors from some of these people that are super credible that they're saying, even some of the ones that said it's coming out next year are saying now that, nah, man, this thing looks like it's going to be, delayed. So I'm thinking Resident Evil 9 is delayed, and a lot of other rumors have been that Resident Evil Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 are coming up next, those remakes. So I'm thinking Code Veronica. That is the one the community wants the most, right? That is the one that the Resident Evil fans want the most. If you, Mr. Capcom, 7 years in a row, that's another thing, guys. Well, there's a whole can of worms right here. Phil Spencer, Lion Phil, keeps saying that the gaming industry is taking this big dive. He sent Sarah Bond out there to give a bunch of non-answers. They're saying, oh man, things are kind of tough right now, blah, blah, blah. He also said, you can't out-console Sony. Even if a game was an 11 out of 10, it wouldn't put them back on the map, blah, blah, blah. We lost the most important generation, yada, yada, yada. All that crying he does, crying Phil. All right? All that being said, it's like, you got Capcom over here going, yeah, dude, we just posted our 7th year in a row setting records being profitable. What's Capcom doing that Xbox isn't? They're putting out good games consistently. They're killing it in Monster Hunter. They're killing it in Resident Evil. They're killing it in remakes. It's like, oh man, we want to try something different. Let's sandwich it in between all these great games. So boom, here's your Monster Hunter. Boom, here's your Resident Evil remake. Boom, here's Exo Primal. Oh, you didn't like Exo Primal? That's okay. Boom, here. Oh, excuse me, Resident Evil 8 first, then Exo Primal. Boom, then Resident Evil remake. Or, part 4. There's even rumors that Resident Evil 1 remake is getting remade. Which, if they do it in the third person style, I don't hate that idea. The 4 was so freaking good that, I think 4 is the formula. I think 4 is the formula. I think that is the one where it's like the enemies are not so bullet spongy that they're not fun to shoot at, like Resident Evil 2. But it's also really, really focused on the horror, so it's not old school for action. So, but yeah, dude, we got Pragmata coming out. We don't know what that's a new IP, and it's kind of time to see it. So, I think my prediction number 1 is we're going to see some Resident Evil. Okay, whether that's a VR mode or a Resident Evil remake being announced, or maybe even they tip their hat at 9. I don't know. But I'm saying Resident Evil. Okay. Prediction number 2. Sticking with Capcom. We're going to see Pragmata. All right. It's time. That thing got showed off a couple years ago, and it's time to see what's going on with it. Yeah. Don't care, what the date is or anything like that. But I think that it's time to show it off. Okay. That's prediction number 2. And I want to see more of it. All right, prediction number 3. Konami is coming out strong, okay? We're going to see Silent Hill 2. I think we're getting a release date. I know that we're getting a Silent Hill transmission, this week. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is Konami's going to come out. They're going to show Silent Hill 2. They're going to give us a release date. And then on the Silent Hill transmission, they're going to go deep dive into it. I think that's what's happening right there. Okay. I think that Konami's also going to show off MGS3 remake. And I think we might even get a release date on that one. I think also Konami is either going to talk about or show off the Metal Gear Collection Volume 2 or another TMNT. And if it's not a PlayStation, it's going to be the Xbox. One of those two is going to happen. We're getting more on those. So I haven't seen anything on the internets where Konami's getting their own kind of presser or their own thing. So I think that one of those two is going to happen there at PlayStation. But we're getting Konami is coming out strong. Okay. I think it's a no-brainer that we're going to see Concord. So I'm not going to throw that one out there because that's one of the next PlayStation first-party releases. I think we're going to see a new IP from first party. I would love it to be Bend or Blue Point. Okay. I'm thinking new IP's happening. There's going to be a new IP. But I'm specifically thinking something brand new is going to be shown from Blue Point or from Sony Bend. Okay. Now, I'm going to do more than 5 predictions just because it's just me. Normally, when we do predictions, it's the whole crew gets a go at it. So I'm going to do 10 predictions. 10 predictions when in 30 minutes. That's a lot. I don't know. Maybe that's too many. Maybe we'll do 8. We'll just do 8 for fun. How about that? So we'll do 8 for fun. So we got Resident Evil is a prediction. Pragmata update. All right, is a prediction. Konami Strong, seeing that Silent Hill 2 release date and Metal Gear Solid Remake release date. We're getting 2 dates from them. Okay, that's 2 different predictions. We're getting a Metal Gear Collection Volume 2 or a TMNT Collection Volume 2 update. Yeah, that's. I think we're getting multiple hits from Konami. Okay, new IP from first party. My prediction is it's going to be either Bend showing one off, or it's going to be Blue Point showing off the game that they've been rumored to be making. All right. As far as prediction number 7, I feel like we're getting close to PS4 or PS5 Pro territory. So I'm going to throw it out there. I probably feel the least excited about this and the least we probably need. I don't think we need it, but it's been rumored so much and so many people. The specs have come out. There's been so much circulating about it that I feel like it's not even a secret anymore. It's just a matter of when. We just got the revised model of the PS5, so the Slim. So I think now they show the Pro. You can either get a Slim or you can get a Pro. That's the two moving forward for the rest of the generation. And so I think I think it'll be a brief, hey, we're going to, PS4 Pro coming out. And then my last prediction, this one we're going to go pie in the sky. This one's going to be the crazy one, right? This is going to be the holy crap moment. Now, here's the deal. I believe we're going to get some more Horizon news. So I'm not putting that on there, though, because I feel like it's almost... It's either the Pro or Horizon. Which one is the given here, or Concord? Which one's the given? So it's kind of like I don't care about either one of them, but I kept hearing there's a Horizon remake coming, which we don't need a remake. And then now some of these latest reports have been that it's a Lego game. Now Horizon Lego, that's dope. That's cool. So I would be stoked to see Horizon Lego. So I do want to put that out there that I believe we might see something like that. But if I'm limiting myself to 8 random predictions and number 8 being kind of pie in the sky, I'm thinking the PlayStation Vita 2 will be announced. So like whatever, it's not going to be a Vita 2, okay? But it's going to be the next PlayStation handheld. That's going to be pie in the sky. That's always pie in the sky, though. That's not even a fair one anymore. That's always my go-to. So, but the next PlayStation, handheld. So, I'm thinking, and I'm not saying like an upgraded Portal, unless it's actually going to let you download games to it. But it would be cool. So, I think as far as honorable mentions go, though, I think we might even get a sneak peek of like a Naughty Dog joint. The rumor is that there's an Uncharted game that's been cooking for a while. They just had some kind of gaffe on PlayStation blog, where Neil Druckmann had a conversation and they kind of took what he said. They edited what he said to where it didn't really make a lot of sense. And it kind of made him look bad, I guess. So the PlayStation took the interview down and then apologized. That gets me clued in that there might be like a Naughty Dog announcement soon. That's my thoughts. I was thinking, man, you wouldn't make a big deal about this, if you weren't getting ready to launch something, because you don't want to have like a muddled message or any kind of heat. So, I'm going to stick with, I doubled all that. I'm not even thinking about it. I doubled on Capcom. I tripled on Konami. I got one new IP from either Bend or Bluepoint, and then 2 double down on hardware. Interesting. You can tell what I like, guys. I like Resident Evil games, I like Konami games, and I like PlayStation brand. So nothing too cool right out of the box on there. So I'm hoping to be wowed. I'm expecting live service. I'm actually expecting Call of Duty. The logos and stuff have come out that, hey, this thing's getting, Black Ops 6 is going to be on Game Pass. That tells me that Black Ops will probably be shown at PlayStation because they still had that 10-year deal or 8-year deal or whatever their marketing deal was. So, Xbox won't be able to show off Call of Duty without PlayStation getting to show it off on their stuff first. Because if I'm not mistaken, they kind of bought, like that was the part of their deal. They bought the rights to market that stuff. So I'm thinking we'll see some Call of Duty for sure. But again, that's not fun. Don't get me wrong. As someone who plays all the Call of Duty campaigns and loves them, freaking love Call of Duty campaigns. I've been playing Call of Duty online. Matter of fact, I forgot to mention that. There's 2 games I forgot to mention. One is Hellblade. We're going to end. That's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to end this episode. That's the predictions. Okay. We're throwing an audible. That's the predictions. I got 8 minutes before I got to get out the door. So we're throwing the audible. Predictions are out there. We'll see how I do. Go to Patreon to find out. Hopefully it's a fun time. I might be able to record as I'm watching it. We'll see. That would be cool. I've never done a live react like that. We'll see. But go to Patreon, see how I did, see how I rank up, see how I scored. The Resident Daryl podcast on Patreon. Go to the Loot Bros podcast on patreon.com. And the Resident Daryl podcast is the $1 tier. So here we go, guys. End capping it with more of what I've been playing, because I did forget it was my brother's birthday. He came over the other day and we played some games as a family. We played wrestling, which I mentioned that earlier. But we played Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is technically now considered Black Ops 5, or the 5th Black Ops. But we played that together. We did some online multiplayer, my brother and myself versus my son and his best friend. And it was freaking awesome. It was a lot of fun. And we had a good time. So we did that. We freaking kicked these kids' butts. 2 old fogies that don't really play that often. Getting out there and whooping their behinds. We did lose a bunch. But the fact that they didn't dominate us, kids that play this all the time, and play Call of Duty in general all the time, was pretty fun. And the fact that they're like, oh, my KD, I'm blah, 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 oh, my blah, 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 oh, I'm dominate, blah, blah, blah. And me and my brother, not only did we win a couple rounds, playing to 100 points, but like we got to where we were operating like a well-oiled machine. We were playing Nuketown, right? And I think it's like the super colored version of Nuketown, the updated version. Anyways, whatever. We're going Nuketown, and it's like, all right. I mean, we were speaking as if we were like on the battlefield. Like, I'm going right, green side right, front side yellow. They're in the center, truck. They're, left side truck, inside, the backside, spawn. I mean, we were speaking to each other. We had gotten to the point where we were just like, boom, boom, boom. Like, just specifically, here's the only word information you need to know exactly where I'm at or where I'm down or where I saw them. And it got to the point where those boys started getting sweaty. And they thought they were going to be cute running around with knives and stabbing us. So I kill them, take their knife. Then I run around the map and stab them and get a little killing spree on them. So I definitely did the worst out of the four of us, which is, that's to be expected. I'm trash. But I tend to play in such a way that I draw the fire. So I go running out. I get their attention. And then my brother, who's a much better gamer than I am, you clean him up. You kill him. I'll die for it. I had a positive KD a few times, but for the most part, I stayed under. But yeah, definitely had a really good time playing some Call of Duty Black Ops with the family. Custom 2-on-2, that was a blast. We played Nuketown and we played the boat map a lot. So definitely enjoyed that. And then outside that, I'm going to end it with this. I got my Series S out, guys. I downloaded Hellblade and Hellblade 2. I've already platinumed Hellblade on PS4. I was like, I'm going to go and play through Hellblade on Xbox, get those achievements, and then I'll play through Hellblade 2 because they're both short games. I played through like the first hour or two, maybe 2 hours, probably 2.5 hours of Hellblade, and stopped. My daughter, I went to go start Hellblade 2. My daughter wanted to hang out. I said, well, if we're going to do this, we probably need to start Hellblade 1. Let's go through it. You get the idea of what's happening, what's going on, and let's make use of the sound design, all that stuff. So we sat through, played the first, like I said, probably 2.5 hours of whatever of it. And then ultimately, she ended up getting sick. She's been sick for days, actually, with a stomach bug. So I haven't played because she hasn't been able to sit through it and pick up where we left off. So I just bounced off of that one. So originally, I was going to try to squeeze in the Hellblade 2 deep dive into the podcast for this month. And I think what ends up happening is I'm going to push it back, and that might be next month. So I might actually squeeze Hellblade 1 in there as well. We'll see. Going to play through both of them. I enjoy Hellblade 1 a lot. And I think that it's definitely a good game, worth your time. And even though the reviews are, it got like an 80 or 81 on Metacritic for Hellblade 2. Sounds like it just does more of the same with a little less combat. And unfortunately, arguably, the combat is one of the best parts about Hellblade, because it's Ninja Theory makes great combat, but it's fun. It's a fun time. So, all right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. I got 3 minutes to hit the road, so that clocked in about an hour. Not too bad. Go check out the Patreon, guys. Go check out the YouTube. There's tons of content out there. I make hours and hours and hours of content each week. All of it is subpar and mediocre for sure, but it's there for you, for those of you who care. So thank you guys so much. Be sure to check all this stuff out. Tune in to the State of Play, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I will be recording my score, how I did. That's going to be on Patreon, so that'll be there tomorrow. All right, guys, thank you so much. Catch you on the next one. And always remember, Uncle Marcus is not a fun game, and anime is for pervs.